Hey gang, today we're going to talk about literary agents, what they are, what they do, and most importantly, how to keep you from getting scammed by unscrupulous people masquerading as reputable agents. Because there are a bunch out there and they're not here to help, but I am. So stick around. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if it's your first time here. I'm John Hartness. I'm the founder and publisher of Falstaff Books and the author of over 40 novels, including the Black Knight Chronicles, the Quincy Harker Demon Hunter series, and the Bubba the Monster Hunter books. And today I want to talk to you about agents, literary agents in particular, because as you can tell, I got a face made for radio, so I don't have an acting agent anymore. I did for a little while. Full disclosure, I don't have a literary agent, have never had a literary agent. So my perspective on agents is shaped by the fact that I deal with them on a regular basis as a publisher. And as such, I know how agents interact with publishers on behalf of their authors. And I know how they shouldn't interact with publishers on behalf of their authors. This is inspired by a recent Substack from Gabino Iglesias, who is an awesome horror writer, incredible teacher, and a book reviewer. If you want to check out his Substack, you should definitely do so. We'll put a link down below in the subscription. But Gabino posted to his Substack this week about agents and some red flags that he sees, and I 100% agree with these. I've cut out a few that felt like corner cases to me, but I'm hitting most of the highlights. But first, what does an agent do? In short, their job is to sell your book to a publisher. They are sometimes editors. Some agents are very involved in the creative process of a book. Sometimes they're career counselors and they help you decide on what book to write next because they think it's more marketable. You've got 5 ideas that you're equally excited about. You go to your agent. Hey, which one of these do you think I have the best chance of selling if you're an established author? And they'll help you pick which one to write because they don't get paid if you don't get paid. We're going to circle back around to that, but remember that motto. The agent doesn't get paid unless you're getting paid, ever. It's even more so than publishers because the agent isn't going to buy your author copies to sell at events. So you get an agent by querying. You first write a book. I know, this is tough. Everybody wants to put the cart before the horse. Everybody wants to develop their marketing plan and get their agent lined up and get all of this work taken care of before they write the book. Write the book. As a publisher, and most agents are going to have the same view that I do, I don't care how great your idea is. I don't care how talented you are. I don't care how enthusiastic, how special, how fabulous you are. I don't care how great your book is gonna be. Write the book. Until the book is great, it ain't a book. And I can't sell it. And neither can an agent. So when you are querying, have a completed book. Yes, you're likely only going to send the first few chapters. But if they immediately respond to those first 3 chapters with, yes, this is great, send me the full manuscript, and you're like, oh, well, I should have it done in 3 months, they've forgotten about you. I've forgotten about you, and I'm annoyed with you because you wasted my time and got me all excited for a book that doesn't exist and may never exist. There's a reason every publisher, agent, editor, professional writer, there's a reason all our eyes glaze over when you start talking about the book that you're working on. Because we're all working on a pile of different books and we don't finish them all. And the vast majority of people who come and talk to me about the book they're working on never come back and talk to me about the book they've written. So don't waste my time. And don't waste an agent's time. Don't query a book that doesn't exist. But let's say you've gone through the query process, you have an agent that is excited about your book. They sign you to a representation contract. This contract will tell you what percentage of your money you're giving to this agent because they can sell your book places that you can't sell it on your own. That percentage should be 15%. Hello, Daisy. Say hi to people, Daisy. She is very annoyed with me now. Oh, yeah, you even got a little squeak out of you. Anyway, the industry standard for literary agents is 15%. And that 15% comes out of the advance and it comes out of royalties. The way 99% of contracts between writers and agented writers and publishers work is payment goes to the agent, they take their 15%, they send you a check. Now that check should include royalty statements from the publishers, which you are responsible for reading and making sure that crap matches up. Do not, please do not just cash the checks, throw the royalty statements in a drawer and ignore them. Please reconcile these royalty statements with things you're hearing from your agent, things you are reading online about your placement on bestseller lists, or whether you got really close to making a bestseller list. Keep some control of your career because this is your money. Otherwise, you could end up like Chuck Palahniuk, who got ripped off to the tune of 7 figures by an unscrupulous agent. This is an incredibly rare case. This is not meant to say nobody wants an agent because they're all criminals. One agent was a criminal. Just because one agent is a criminal, the vast majority of them are very good. But not all. That's why we have a video like this. To tell you that if your contract with the agent comes back and the first thing you see is that they take more than 15%, you should contact them and say, why are you asking for more than the industry standard 15%? Sometimes you'll have split payments. Sometimes your agent will request that the publisher send them a check and send you a check. This is exceptionally rare, and most of the time, it's not great. The one time we have done split payments at Falstaff is because the books that we sold that agent was, the books that we purchased that agent was representing were the last books that they planned to represent. They were retiring, but they were still entitled to a chunk of the money. Ergo, split payments. That agent continues to get their 15%. The writer continues to get their 85%. Look, I did math. So here's a few of Gabino's red flags for agents you should be careful of. And I think these are really good things for you to keep in mind. Number one, Look out for agents who sign dozens of authors every single month. You want an agent with a robust client list. And it may very well be that your agent is just starting out, or maybe they were an associate agent with a bigger agency and they're just moving out on their own and they're working to build a client list. That's not who I'm talking about here. What I'm talking about are agents who are just signing people at the drop of a hat all the time, and an announcement every day about signing this new author, that new author, this new author, that new author. What are you selling? If you've signed 15 new authors in a month, when have you had time to send books to publishers, to editors? What are you doing to sell books? If you're signing authors at that kind of a breakneck pace, one every couple of days for months on end, then you're likely submitting in that same kind of shotgun strategy, and you're not actually cultivating relationships with publishers and with editors to know what presses would be a good fit for your client's books. You're just blasting it out there like the not insignificant number of unsolicited agent emails I get in a month that have done no research into Falstaff books or the work that we publish, and thus are very interested in having us publish their Spanish language memoir. We don't typically publish in languages other than English, and we don't publish memoir. And yet I get a couple of these random requests every month from agents. These are not the agents you want. An agent who is putting no thought into their submission process is not doing you any favors, and they're not doing anything that you couldn't do yourself. What you want is an agent who knows people, an agent that can get your book into doors that you can't get into yourself. I really want to cultivate strong relationships with agents so they know what to send me. And as a small / indie press, I am perfectly happy being a safety school for authors who are frequently published by big New York houses. I'm okay with that. I do not expect to be the first press to get a manuscript from a New York Times best-selling author. I'm pretty happy to be the 21st press, because if a lot of people pass on it and I still love it, that doesn't mean I'm not going to take the book. I have published books that I have been the 41st place that the agent sent it, and have been happy to have them. So make sure that the agent you're signing with isn't just signing everybody they can get their hands on and blasting a ton of stuff out into the world like junk mail, hoping that someone will publish it. Another red flag is an agent who ghosts you. Now, yes, I do realize that some of you have had manuscripts on submission with Falstaff Books for over a year, and I'm sorry. It's been a bit of a year. Your agent should respond to your emails or texts or phone calls or however you have set up to communicate with your agent. But let's be real, it's the 21st century. It's probably email. I'm not saying they need to get back to you in an hour or 4 hours or even 8 hours, even 24 hours. But 2 business days, max of 3, and your agent should be responding to you. Again, they don't get paid unless you get paid. So if they ghost you for weeks or months, that's no bueno. You need to you need to seriously consider whether this is the right agent for you or not. This is a good one on Gabino's list, and he says you should be careful about agents that you've heard stuff about from more than one person. One of my favorite TV shows of all time is Justified. And there's a line in Justified where Raylan Givens says, you know, if the first person you meet when you walk out of the house in the morning is an asshole, then you met an asshole. But if everybody you meet is an asshole, then it might be that you're the asshole. Now, that's a little bit off topic, but it's a great line. But what it basically boils down to in this case is where there's smoke, there's fire. And if everybody you talk to about an agent kind of goes, or maybe they're not the right agent for you. Maybe they are past their prime. Maybe they're out of touch with the current trends in publishing. Or maybe they were never very good to begin with. Maybe they're very new and aren't very good yet, and they'll get there eventually. But if you hear negative things about an agent from one writer, okay, you have one writer that had a bad experience with an agent. It happens. 2, I might be doing some digging. 3, I'm 100% doing some digging and poking around with friends of mine in the industry, places like the Absolute Right Water Cooler, asking about that agency, Googling them. Yeah, really. Google them. Look at their socials. See what kind of a human they are. Make sure they are a human. I don't want a Borg agent. If you're not from the southeastern United States, I'm sorry. You don't have Bojangles. It's kind of the greatest. So if you hear these red flags about agents repeatedly, heed them. I'm not saying don't sign with them, but I am saying pay attention and dig a little deeper. Do your research. Yes, another red flag. Agents with no online presence whatsoever. Now, like Gabino, I'm not talking about somebody who's not on social media. Some folks aren't, and bless them, they probably live a much calmer life than I do, or than you do. But if your agent has no client list on their website, no list of books they've sold on their website, nothing on their website except a bio that doesn't really tell you that they have any publishing experience, then maybe they're not really a great agent. I'm not saying that you need to have John Scalzi's agent or Brandon Sanderson's agent. Fairly certain neither Ethan Ellenberg nor Joshua Vilmus are taking on a ton of new clients right now, so hey. But maybe they are. Submit to them. Knock yourself out. Query them. But what I am saying is your agent should be using their website and their online presence to promote their work, because success breeds success and people want to work with people who are successful. Therefore, people who are representing big books and want to represent more big books talk about the big books they're representing online. It's just a thing. It's what we do. So if you Google an agent and there's nothing, or you go to their website and the only books listed are by authors with the same last name as the agent, and yes, this has happened to me. I have received agented submissions from people that are obviously the spouse of the author. Well, that's not a real agent, kids. So if you're submitting to an agent, do your research. Find out what they've sold, especially in your genre. I'm not going to submit to an agent that only sells romance because I don't write romance books. Seems basic, right? You'd be amazed how many people don't do that basic due diligence. And it's because we're told so often you have to have an agent to have any success as a writer. So then when somebody comes to you purporting to be an agent, oh my God, this is great. I've made it. This is fantastic. Until you sign a contract with them and it's not fantastic. And then you've given them the rights to your work for life, maybe. Also, read every contract before you sign it. For God's sake, read every contract before you sign it. I don't even need to explain what drives that. I don't need to tell you why I'm telling you that. For God's sake, read every contract before you sign it. Don't be a moron. Now, here's one. This is the last big one in Gabino's list. Here's one that strikes near and dear to my heart. If you want to be published by big New York presses, don't sign to agents who only sell to very small presses. This is coming from a guy who runs a small press. You don't need an agent to submit to Falstaff Books. You can go to our website, look at our submission guidelines, and follow them. And yes, we are currently closed to unsolicited submissions. If you would like to submit to Falstaff Books, you can join us at our Saga Writing Conference in Charlotte in March, and you'll be able to pitch to us then. Don't email me random book pitches. They will be deleted on read. But if the agent you are considering has only sold to small boutique presses or small indie presses, what in the world makes you think that they'll be able to sell your book to Penguin Random House? If they had the connections to sell books to bigger presses, why don't you think they would have already been doing that? Gabino goes on in his Substack to say, please don't come at me with pitchforks and torches, because he has worked with small presses, continues to work with small presses, and loves and supports small presses, and he's still right. If you want to be in the loving arms of a giant New York publisher, you need an agent who has relationships with big New York publishers. I'm sorry. You're not the thing that's going to create the relationship, probably. One of the 5,000 subscribers we have might be. But I ain't holding my breath, and you shouldn't either. If you want to work with indie presses, no problem working with an agent that typically only sells to indie presses. But if you want to work with New York presses, make sure that your agent can sell things to big houses. It only makes sense. And that goes back to that online presence that you need to be able to examine. And then there's a few quick hits in Gabino's list. Agents who ask you for money are absolute scammers. Walk away. They're assholes. Agents who tell you that they can't ask for changes to a contract. Every contract can be changed until you sign it. Every item in a contract can be changed. It's a flippin' Word document, kids. We can go in and change anything we want. I might not. I might refuse to. So make sure that the things you're asking for are reasonable. But an agent who tells you, no, we can't get anything changed, is either lying, lazy, or stupid. And I don't want to work with people who lie, who are lazy, and who are stupid. For the example Gabino cites is that all of his contracts include anti-AI clauses now. So do ours. The standard Falstaff novel contract now states that we will do everything we can to ensure that no generative AI is used in the creation of the cover, and the author asserts that no generative AI is used in the creation of the book. You know why that's in there? It's not just because I hate generative AI, and boy, there's a pile of videos on this channel that you can go back to and see, learn about that. It's because an agent asked me. When we were signing a contract for Joseph Brassey's third Drifting Lands book, his agent asked us to put in a clause that we promised not to use AI. So I said, yeah, absolutely. That's a good clause. I'll put it into all of our contracts. And I did. I added it into the body of the stock contract because an agent asked. Anything can be changed. Not everything will be, but anything can be changed. So if your agent doesn't know that, they're 100% not worth having. Agents who ask for more than 15%, no. And agents who can't answer simple questions about things like audio, film, TV, graphic novel rights, royalties, or foreign sales, they need to be able to answer questions about those things. An agent who has worked with us before should be able to tell you very quickly that we don't ask for film or graphic novel or TV rights, and we only ask for worldwide English because I don't do translations. We do ask for audio, but it's negotiable. So, yeah. If your agent can't answer the basic questions about that, don't go with them. Now, like I said earlier, I don't have an agent. I have managed to carve out a decent career for myself without one. And while I would not mind having an agent, I'm not currently chasing one. I don't have anything that I'm querying, and I don't have anything that's being represented by anyone. So all of my perspective comes from the publisher side. If you have other experiences, if you have other ideas, and let's try and keep it to things that you've actually experienced, not things you've heard or things you've read about on the internet, because I know everything on the internet is 100% true. That's why I'm 26 years old and weigh 210 pounds. But let's try and keep your experiences in the comments to things you've actually experienced. But if you have other questions on how we work with agents and the kinds of things that I, as a publisher, expect from an agented submission, feel free to leave them in the comments. And if you've stuck with me for the last half hour, you should probably give us a like, a subscribe. And if you really want to toss a coin to your witcher, you can become a member of the channel, just like these folks here have done, and then your name will be in the back half of all our videos. And you'll get to watch our stuff a little early. So thanks for watching, and yes, I know Daisy is the reason that you all tuned in the first place, but hopefully you got a little bit of information to go along with a little bit of a grumpy kitty. So thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you next time.